Picture this. You stand up from your favorite chair, and for just a moment, your legs hesitate before they catch up with the rest of you. Maybe you've noticed it while getting out of the car or climbing a flight of stairs that never used to bother you. Your legs feel a little heavier, a little slower to respond. If that sounds familiar, you're certainly not alone. This is one of the most common things adults over 60 quietly notice and rarely talk about. Here's something important, though. This isn't simply getting older. In many cases, it means your legs haven't been challenged in the right way for quite some time. And that's actually good news, because it means there's something you can do about it. Your muscles are still listening. They still know how to respond. Today, I'm going to show you 3 simple exercises. Nothing complicated, nothing that requires equipment or a gym membership. Just 3 movements you can do safely at home, starting today for the next 21 days. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why these 3 movements matter, how to do each one safely, and how to build them into a simple weekly rhythm that supports stronger legs, better balance, and more confidence in everyday life. Because this isn't about becoming an athlete, it's about being able to stand up from a chair without thinking twice, climbing stairs without holding your breath, carrying groceries inside without needing to stop halfway. That's what stronger legs actually give you. Not muscle for its own sake, freedom to keep living your life the way you want to. After years of working with older adults on strength and mobility, one thing becomes very clear very quickly. The legs are often the first place people notice change, and the first place real progress becomes possible. There's one exercise coming up that most people overlook completely. It doesn't look impressive, it doesn't burn much, but it may be the one that matters most for staying steady on your feet. We'll get there. Quick question before we start. What's the one everyday task that feels a little harder than it used to? Standing up? Climbing stairs? Getting out of bed? Let me know in the comments, because it helps me know what to cover next. Now let's talk about why this actually happens. Many people assume weaker legs are simply an unavoidable part of getting older, something you're supposed to accept and work around. But that's not the full picture. Starting in our 30s, the body naturally begins to lose some muscle over time. This process happens gradually, and it can speed up if the legs aren't regularly asked to do meaningful work, sitting for long periods, walking less than we used to, avoiding stairs when possible. All of it adds up quietly year after year. The muscles don't disappear overnight. They simply become less practiced, less confident, and your brain starts noticing that hesitation too, which is part of why standing up can start to feel less automatic than it once did. Here's the encouraging part. Muscle tissue remains remarkably responsive throughout life. Research on healthy aging consistently shows that with regular, appropriate movement, many older adults can rebuild meaningful strength, no matter when they start. This isn't about undoing decades in a weekend. It's about giving your legs a reason to adapt again. And that's exactly what these 3 exercises are designed to do. Let's start with the first movement, because it's the one your body already uses more than almost any other. The sit to stand. You might be thinking, that's just standing up from a chair. And you'd be right. But how you do it and how often you practice it with intention makes a real difference. Every single time you rise from a chair, get up from the toilet, or climb out of the car, you're using this exact movement pattern. The muscles on the front of your thighs, along with the muscles around your hips, work together to straighten your legs and lift your body upright. When those muscles go untrained, that moment of hesitation creeps in, the slight wobble, the need to push off with your hands. Practicing this movement directly, on purpose, teaches your legs to handle it with less effort and more control. Here's how to do it safely. Sit toward the front of a sturdy chair, feet flat on the floor, roughly hip-width apart. If you can, position your feet slightly behind your knees rather than out in front. Lean your chest forward slightly, as if you're about to bow just a little. Press firmly through your heels and slowly stand up, taking about 2 seconds to rise. Once you're standing, pause for a moment. Feel steady, feel tall. Then lower yourself back down over about 3 seconds with control rather than dropping into the seat. Breathe naturally throughout. Many people find it helpful to exhale as they stand and inhale as they lower back down. If you need extra support at first, that's completely fine. Keep a countertop or sturdy table nearby and use your hands lightly for balance as you build confidence. There's no reason to push through instability. A safe starting point is still a starting point. For the first week, aim for 6 to 8 repetitions, once through. That's it. As it starts to feel more comfortable, you can work toward 2 sets and eventually reduce how much you're using your hands for support. One common mistake here is rushing, standing up quickly, using momentum instead of muscle. Slow it down. The control is where the real benefit happens. Every time you do this exercise, you're practicing something you'll use dozens of times today. Getting out of your car, standing up after dinner, getting off the couch to answer the door. This is functional strength built directly into daily life. Now, standing up strong is important, but staying steady once you're on your feet is a different skill entirely. That brings us to the second exercise. This one focuses on balance, and it addresses something many people don't think about until they've already had a close call. A stumble on uneven pavement, a wobble reaching for something on a high shelf. The exercise is called the heel-to-toe stance, sometimes known as a tandem stance. Here's why it matters. Your balance depends on a kind of ongoing conversation between your eyes, your inner ear, and the muscles in your legs and ankles. As we age, that conversation can become a little less sharp, a little slower to respond. The good news is that balance, much like strength, responds to practice. To do this exercise, stand near a countertop or the back of a sturdy chair for support. Place one foot directly in front of the other, heel touching toe, as if you're standing on a balance beam or a narrow line on the floor. Keep your hands lightly resting on the counter at first. Hold this position for about 10 to 15 seconds, breathing normally throughout. Then switch, placing the other foot in front. As this becomes more comfortable, you can begin lightening your grip on the counter, using just your fingertips for support, and eventually practicing without holding on at all, always with something stable nearby just in case. Aim to practice this for about 30 seconds on each side, once or twice through, a few times a week. A common mistake is looking down at your feet the entire time. Try to look forward instead, toward a fixed point in front of you. This actually trains your balance system more effectively. This exercise directly supports the moments where balance really counts. Stepping off a curb, walking on a gravel path, recovering quickly if your foot catches on an uneven surface. Small improvements here often translate into a noticeably steadier feeling throughout the day. We've now covered strength and balance, but there's a third piece that ties everything together, and it's the one most people skip entirely. That third piece is coordination between your legs and your core, the ability to shift your weight smoothly and stay controlled while you're actually moving, not just standing still, but walking, turning, stepping over the garden hose. All of that requires your legs and your balance system to work together while your body is in motion, not just holding still. The standing march trains exactly that. Stand tall behind a sturdy chair or near a countertop, hands resting lightly for support if needed. Slowly lift one knee up toward your hip, only as high as feels comfortable and controlled. Not high, just enough that you feel your standing leg working to keep you steady. Lower that foot back down with control, then repeat on the other side. Move slowly. This isn't about speed, it's about your standing leg learning to stabilize you while the other leg moves. Breathe naturally and keep your chest tall rather than leaning side to side as you lift each knee. Start with about 8 lifts on each side, once through. As it becomes easier, you can add a second set or hold each lift for a second or two at the top before lowering. A common mistake is leaning heavily to one side to compensate. If that happens, lower the height of the lift and focus on staying upright first. Height isn't the goal, control is. This movement mirrors exactly what your body does every time you climb a step, walk up a curb, or navigate around furniture in a room. You're teaching your standing leg to hold you steady while the other leg does its job. That's balance and strength working together, which is really what everyday movement actually requires. So now you have 3 movements: the sit to stand, which builds the strength to rise with confidence, the heel to toe stand, which sharpens your balance while standing still, and the standing march, which trains your legs and balance to work together while you're actually moving. Here's how they fit together over the next 21 days. You don't need to do all 3 every single day. In fact, consistency matters far more than intensity here. A simple, realistic approach looks like this: 3 days each week, spaced out with a rest day in between when possible. On each of those days, work through all 3 exercises in order. Sit to stands first, since they warm up your legs, then the heel to toe stand, then finish with the standing march. The entire routine takes about 10 to 15 minutes. In the first week, focus purely on learning the movements. Comfortable range of motion, full support if you need it. There's no reward for pushing too hard too early. By the second week, many people notice the movements starting to feel slightly more familiar, maybe a little less wobble during the balance hold. Maybe standing up feels a touch smoother. By the third week, you can begin reducing how much you lean on the counter for support, or adding a small amount, like 1 extra repetition or a few extra seconds of hold time. Progress during these 3 weeks is rarely dramatic. It's usually quiet, a little steadier here, a little more confident there. That's exactly what safe, lasting improvement looks like. If you ever feel sharp pain, dizziness, or anything that feels wrong, stop and rest, and check in with your healthcare provider before continuing, especially if you're managing a health condition or recovering from an injury. Remember, mild effort is normal. It's supposed to feel like your muscles are working. Sharp or worsening pain is not something to push through. So let's bring this together. Weak legs are not simply something you have to accept as part of getting older. In many cases, they're a sign that your legs haven't been asked to work in a while. And the encouraging truth is that your body is still capable of responding, no matter your age or where you're starting from. 3 exercises, 21 days, 10 to 15 minutes, 3 times a week. That's a realistic and achievable way to start rebuilding the strength and steadiness that everyday life depends on. Standing up with ease, walking with more confidence, feeling steadier on your feet, whether you're in your kitchen or out in the garden. You don't need to do this perfectly. You just need to begin. If you found this helpful, I'd encourage you to try these 3 exercises this week and notice how your body responds over the next few weeks. Come back and let me know how it's going. Your legs have carried you through every stage of your life so far. With a little consistent care, they can keep carrying you through the years ahead. Keep moving, one small step at a time.